That right there is a lot of money to have to dole
Staggering
out.
amount of money that Alex Jones is now being ordered to pay to families of Sandy Hook school shooting victims for the lies that Jones perpetrated, for the conspiracy theories that he put forward, claiming Sandy Hook was a hoax. It obviously was not. Nearly 24 people killed, murdered on that horrific day in Newtown, Connecticut. This trial, of course, taking place in Connecticut with the damages totaling roughly $1 billion. Again, it is an extraordinary amount.
Obviously, freedom of speech is dead in this country. Now, guys, I understand you're probably thinking to yourself, but didn't Alex Jones get it wrong? Yes, he did get it wrong, and I do agree that the parents do deserve some form of compensation for this, but $1 billion over some things that, by the way, he quite frankly apologized for. Meanwhile, TYT, the left-wing news, the mainstream media gets to lie all the time and create hoaxes out of thin air. They get to misreport crap, and yet they get off completely scot-free. The justice system, especially in blue states, is an absolute joke. There is no fairness. There is no accountability. And of course, once again, the left-wingers are holding right-wingers and conservatives to a standard that, quite frankly, is completely unrealistic. As I said before, I understand Alex Jones did get it wrong. Of course, he did apologize. Of course, he made several mea culpas. But $1 billion. Meanwhile, Anna and Jen get to lie about Kyle Rittenhouse, and they're not held accountable at all. Yeah, this right here is a load of crap. You are going to hear a lot of this right here is BS. You're also going to hear a lot of well, he deserves to be punished this bad. You're going to hear a lot of takes over this Alex Jones Sandy Hook defamation suit. Now, guys, I'm going to be talking about three things in this video. I'm going to give you guys a very, very quick background on this, what my thoughts were at the time, my personal thoughts on Jones, and of course, I'm going to be talking about conspiracy theories as a whole, because I think we need to have a complete open mind about this entire thing, even though the Sandy Hook stuff obviously was not a hoax. Now, guys, with that right there being said, this video right here will also be on Gear Issue 33 to go along on John Claymore tonight. The reason why I'm doing this is because I'm not going to be releasing any content tomorrow. I've got a personal matter to take care of, and of course, the content will be back out on Friday. Now, with that right there being said, let's go ahead and dive into this. Now, guys, I remember Sandy Hook very well, obviously, because it was a tragedy. A lot of kids got killed. The shooter, Adam Lanza, of course, he had killed his mother before that. And of course, even at that time, I was watching a little bit of InfoWars. Now, over time, I kind of weaned myself off of InfoWars and stopped watching it. Let's just say the reason why was because I was getting used to YouTube at that time, and I was watching a lot more content creators, and I was watching a lot of different news sources. Of course, I've kind of evolved and matured since then. And while I don't dislike Alex Jones, I'm not really and truly an absolute fan of him, but this right here is absolute crap. Now, of course, he should pay something, of course, for creating a hoax, but at the same time, the $1 billion, of which, by the way, I'm pretty sure he does not have $1 billion, that right there seems a little bit extreme. Now, guys, when it comes to Sandy Hook, I'm not going to dive that much into it, but I will be leaving every single resource that I can find before I post this video in the description box. I highly advise you guys check them out to kind of get your own thought process on what you think happened. I personally don't believe it was a hoax. As a matter of fact, there was only one part of that entire ordeal that I actually thought Alex Jones said that might have actually been true, and that right there was Anderson Cooper's nose disappearing in the what appeared to be a green screen, which, by the way, I think he was trying to get across that CNN does not actually do their news on site. That right there, you guys can say whatever you want. That right there is cool. Go right ahead and do that. But that's the only part of the entire thing that he presented that I thought was actually true. Now, Jones has admitted since then that he was going through a lot of issues dealing with his alcoholism. He was drinking a lot. He was going through a lot at that time. And I understand that he may have had a moment where he was just throwing out all kinds of crazy stuff. But then again, at the same time, though, some of this stuff right here, let's just say it didn't exactly stick the way he wanted, and he had to backtrack on a lot. I'm glad that he actually did that. He sort of took his licks like a man. He said, look, I was wrong. Of course, I could provide you guys with all the zingers from the trial, because apparently if you've been watching the highlights on Twitter, you would think that Alex Jones was a man that, quite frankly, was defiant. And of course, as I've said before, even though I think he was in the wrong, $1 billion seems a little bit extreme for this case. You ran your mouth, and now you got to pay $1 billion. Let's go ahead and be honest, though. He doesn't exactly have $1 billion, so this right here seems a little bit like overkill. To tell you the truth, his money is probably sitting in other accounts. Like, he's probably already prepped for this. But the fact of the matter is, this right here is a little bit extreme. Yes, he was in the wrong, but $1 billion freaking dollars? Yeah, I don't think Alex Jones deserves to pay that much. But then again, though, This right here is the society that we're going to be going through. I mean, this right here is Connecticut. This right here is a very, very blue area. And if you are a conservative or somewhat of a right-leaning personality and you say something out of the way, guess what? You're going to pay for this. And nobody has rage like the blue. Nobody has rage like left-wing liberals. Nobody has rage like the actual cancel culture mob. And unfortunately, Alex Jones has got to pay for that. And it does suck. I mean, I'm a guy who doesn't exactly have what you call would maybe get a high, somewhere in the high 5 figures a year. And of course, if I say something out of the way, I'm going to have to pay heavier for it. But then again, I'm the type of person that quite frankly doesn't really care about the mob. Neither does Jones. But then again, at the same time, though, like I said, $1 billion over this right here, yeah, a little bit extreme. But don't think for a second, guys, I'm going to come up here and just cry a soliloquy for Alex Jones, okay? I'm not going to be doing this. This is one of the reasons why I want you guys to stick around for the full video, because I oftentimes like to give you guys both sides of the story whenever I can, especially when it's definitely necessary, especially if there are two sides. I'm not exactly a real fan of Alex Jones, and I'll explain why it is I'm not a real fan of his. First of all, what Jones does on InfoWars, I'm glad that he's looking into stuff. I'm glad that he's actually finding out the things that we might need to know. Then again, though, at the same time, I've never been the type of guy that was actually a conspiracy theorist. I'm the type of person that does not discount one. I'm the type of person that says, look, I want to hear all of your evidence, and I will decide what parts of each portion of what you're presenting is actually true. I'll be talking about that in the next section, of course, after this edited clip. But the thing is this right here, I lost a lot of respect for Alex right around the time that Millie Weaver, when he threw Millie Weaver under the bus. The same girl who came up with the whole, the girl who did the Shadowgate documentary, the girl who did the Shadowgate 2.0 documentary. And of course, when she got arrested, which by the way turned out to be a bogus charge, what did he do? He threw her under the friggin' bus, which made me think to myself, okay, maybe there's not as much iron in his words as he says. So, no, I'm not here to actually cry for Alex Jones. I'm just simply saying that, hey, look, this is kind of the world that we're living in right now. This is kind of the reason why it's so important that we actually take back the Senate, take back the House. This is also another reason why we take back our country, so that way we can actually have freedom of speech and not have to worry about paying $1 billion frickin' dollars of what we do not have to actually satisfy some people. Even though Jones was obviously in the wrong, I don't think he was $1 billion worth in the wrong. And guys, this right here leads me to what I was going to tell you guys about conspiracies. Okay, now a lot of people love to make fun of conspiracy theorists, and a lot of people love to, brush conspiracy theorists to the side. I believe more along the lines of like conspiracy analyzation. There is going to be a TED Talk in the description box of this video here, where a gentleman gave a speech about conspiracy theories themselves. Basically, what he was trying to say, it's a very, very good video, by the way, very good TED Talk. This is before TED Talk went completely woke. He was talking about the fact that you did not need to completely discount conspiracies as a whole. What I meant to say was probably dismiss. Dismiss is definitely a better word. You shouldn't dismiss them outright because you never know what you might find. Let me give you an example of what I mean. It is a conspiracy that Joseph Stalin had Leon Trotsky banished. Of course, we later on found out that that was actually true. It is actually a conspiracy theory that Lavrenti Beria is the one who actually killed Stalin. Okay, by the way, I did say at one point in time I may create a conspiracy analyzation channel to kind of analyze these things. But of course, I'm pretty sure you guys kind of sort of get the gist of where I'm coming from. Me personally, I don't believe Kurt Cobain committed suicide. Me personally, I don't believe Lee Harvey Oswald is the one who shot Kennedy. However, there are some conspiracy theories that quite frankly sound a little bit, let's just say, a little bit honkish if you guys are kind of picking up what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you should not dismiss anything outright. What you need to do is actually allow the story to completely be told, so therefore you can decide what bits of evidence are actually believable and what are not. Let me go ahead and give you one more. Guys, I caught a lot of flack for an updates video I did a while back. What I did was I went after the UFO community saying that I did not believe in UFOs. That was a complete misstatement. What I should have said was I didn't believe in the alien community, because oftentimes people like to conflate UFOs with aliens themselves. No, given what we know today, I don't think you should dismiss anything. Okay, I've kind of evolved on this topic. Which is very, very weird, because some people will tell you that they believe that Oswald committed Kennedy, but then they'll turn right back around and say that they believe in aliens or something like that, and then tell you that they're not conspiracy theorists. Basically, what I'm saying to you is that if anything looks like a conspiracy, what you need to do is not dismiss it outright. Leave it open, have an open mind, decide what's true, what's not true, so that way you can actually change your mind or not change your mind. By the way, this right here is not exactly what we call grifting. Grifting is when somebody steps in front of a movement, takes charge, and then automatically changes their mind once things begin to go south for them, and then they switch sides or they eventually stay home. A great example of a grifter, Mike Cernovich. Guys, John Claymore here, Gears33. If you like the content, hit the like button, subscribe, share the videos, have in the comment section. See you guys later.